Yeah, I was still talking party politics and political parties in Nigeria. And before we went on that break, my guest, Barrister Meme, was talking about the ideologies of political parties in Nigeria. And of course, he also did refer to political parties, the need for political parties to be more or less a watchdog to leadership, governance, and of course, democracy in the country. And I would like to ask you this question, because as much as we understand the need for political parties to also play the role of a watchdog, one would want to ask or, look at the other indices that may hamper or deviate attention of many political leaders from pushing the drive of being, quote unquote, a watchdog in the society. And one of it is what many would describe as money inducements. In recent times, money has become a major player in politics, from the APC to the PDP to SDP to ADC to PRP. The same subject remains money. And money for many is the reason why many political parties fall out and then dovetail into internal crisis, dysfunctionality, lack of unity, all surrounded by money. A clerical example is what we saw after the 2023 elections with the Labour Party, that at best turned the party which many Nigerians believed at the time was a third force in Nigerian politics into a mere association. What's your take?
You see, this is because, like I mentioned earlier, it takes a courageous person to lead. We have many politicians in Nigeria, and unfortunately, many of our politicians are cowards. They do not have the leadership tendencies to lead. Many of them have even served as governors. Some of them have served as senators. Those who even serve as governors, at best, what they did was to construct few roads and pay salaries. That was their achievement. No innovation, no industry. And sometimes I know it is necessary for us to put so much pressure on the presidency because there's so much power within the president of the country to drive the economy, to drive the system. But then we also have governors who also have their constitutional responsibilities. Many of them who still moving around looking for one political party to remain relevant are those politicians who could not do enough for their people. They had the opportunity of creating a system that works, but they could not do that. The issue of influencing the political party, again, still revolves around the idea and the character of the people within the cycle. Many political parties were established just for the purpose of providing platform for people to aspirants to contest on their platform, and also just like a business. So the time has come in this country that people of goodwill should begin to step into the political arena so that we'll begin to see the change that we truly want and deserve in this country. Until then, nothing will happen. So you will have people who can easily buy their way. They can go to any political party, spend money, and they will be issued the tickets. And the next moment, they are also living back to where they are coming from. Where they are even coming from and where they obtain the ticket is still almost the same thing. Only that in terms of trying to get political power, backup, presidential backup, they tend to move towards the ruling party. It is a very big issue in this country. But until the people with the right mindset, people with goodwill, begin to come into the political arena, Nigeria can never be out of this issue in the nearest future.
All right, but while we understand that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, it is also known that money remains a major distraction in any political arena. as far as politics and handling of politics is concerned. Because when a political party is seen as being at peace, if that party emerges at leadership, to a great extent, it is believed that such party can provide leadership in terms of governing a multi-ethnic society like Nigeria. In Nigeria today, how can we ensure that money is taken away from the front burner?
It is difficult to ensure, and that is why we know, and for me, I know for sure, that Nigerian system require a political party with a political ideological factors, and that will run like an institution in this.
An ideology. Of course, all of these political parties all emerged with an ideology. However, the PDP, for instance, or the APC, when CPC and several other pocket groups came together to form the APC in 2014, leading up to 2015, that bettered the former president of Nigeria, Buhari. The ideology they came up with, or perhaps one of the reasons they say they were riding on what they believed that Nigeria was shackled at that moment, and the only way they could, retrieve what was left of Nigeria is to bring about change. That was an ideology. In 2023, it came up also
the world
with renewed hope.
Yes, that is not an idea.
All of this
Yes.
were roadmaps, and the roadmaps are also the ideologies of political parties. Because these people cannot come together if they do not believe in one thing. But something has continued to disrupt that unity, and that thing remains money. So it doesn't matter how much political parties come together. One thing that often divides them, it's money. I gave you an example with Labour Party. The PDP has also been a prey of this. The APC also fell into this ditch at some point. So more political parties will soon be registered ahead of the 2027 election. And perhaps there are huge possibilities that not one or two might fall prey again. So how do we get the change we longed for?
You see, you have the aspect of the political party ideology. Then you have the aspect of governance, the governance of the nation. That is the elected political office holders. Now, on the aspect of the elected political officers, when they are elected, what we have seen over the years is that the political party do not have the courage to tell them this is what is right and this is what is wrong. In many other environments, if you have complaints, you can challenge the complaint through the political party, and the political party will pass the information to the government. But in Nigeria, when you pass the complaint to the political party, they kill the complaint because they don't want to disturb the political leader. That is very bad for the country. So, and there are some of these simple things that can be resolved, like this issue of food insecurity, this issue of security and all of those things. How best can you resolve such an issue? As the president of the country, it's not time for you to say, look, the cattle raiders are businessmen, the farmers are businessmen. All these guys, they are all trying to do their business for survival. And you have cattle raiders who move their cattle from one place to another, destroying crops. This is a big issue. But we have decided to politicize this issue as if it doesn't, the farmers' lives and their products or their farmland matters nothing to Nigeria. So, to resolve this issue, ordinarily, the president ought to take the bull by the horn by completely declaring the restriction of movement of cattle across the country, thereby compelling the cattle rearers to acquire their land and keep their cattle there, then breed their cattle and sell for consumption. But what do you see? They're not taking towards that direction. So that is why I said that we have the issue of leadership deficit in this country. Whether you take it from the angle of leadership governance or you take it by the angle of the political parties, they are all still the same thing. The people of goodwill, Nigerians, well, those who are in private sectors who are doing excellently well in their businesses, and those in the diaspora should continue to look out for certain political parties, join such political party, build on this political party. It is not enough for a group of former this, former that to come together and now move into a particular political party. And the mandate you can always see is that we want to unseat the president.
So apparently, what we see in Nigeria, it's more or less a situation where the political drivers are more concerned about their personal gain.
Absolutely.
Rather than the generality or the concern or the generality of Nigerians' well-being. But I would ask you this question just as we wind down this conversation. Nigeria for a long time has mirrored the structure, politics of Western countries. Take, for instance, the United States, where just two political parties exist. You have the Democrats on one hand, and then you have the Republicans on the other hand. So if Nigeria, for instance, constantly mirrors Western politics, should we narrow down our political parties? I know as of today, Nigeria has more than 18 political parties. Shouldn't we have two major parties? Then talks about ideology can come to rest. Because in the United States, the Democrats have an ideology and the Republicans have an ideology. So depending on where you fall, that gives you the notion as to where you should actually pitch your tents. Shouldn't that be the case with Nigeria? Rather than registering new political parties, shouldn't we be looking at collapsing, these heavier structures into a sustainable ideological party?
Well, to start from the first one, Nigerian politicians are not just self-centered. Nigerian politicians are wicked. They are wicked, extremely wicked. Now, when you talk about Nigerian trying to mirror the system of the United States of America, United States of America have more than two political parties. There are many other political parties. But probably you are looking at the main and the major political parties, which is the Republican and the Democrats. But then, these political parties exist on the base of political ideology. But having said that, even though we want to copy the system over there, for instance, are we really copying the right system? Over the years, in the last, how many years since we came on board now, since we returned back to the return of democracy, or
Since 1999.
rule,
Yeah.
but the civil rule rather, because we are still, this is not democracy. And if we really want to copy a certain a system, we should also look at the good things that they are doing. So we are copying at the same time, just trying to pick the ones that will favor the pockets of the few. There is no equal distribution of wealth in this country. Whatever that is meant for the development goes to private pockets in the end of the day. And what they do in most cases also, they just, in the area of projects, they just increase the price of these projects and for their personal benefit. So we are not even doing that in the area of trying to maintain a system or trying to copy a system in the right way. So again, we don't even need to copy any system. All we need to do is to understand what the people really want within our country, then begin to implement
what is suitable for
the country, for the nation Nigeria. So if you look at the educational sector and the issues of infrastructure and the rest of them, security, are we copying a system based on the way they conduct their elections, or we are copying their system based on governance? In what way in development, we're not really copying anything. It's just more like a psyche thinking, not really in practical or a reality in this country.
So apparently what you're saying is, or what you're advocating for is, it's high time Nigerians begin to change their mindsets. So perhaps mindset drives ideology, and then ideology brings about the formation of what we might describe as an institutional, political and democratic party, right?
Absolutely. The culture, the political culture must begin to change. And for you to have the right political culture, which actually breeds the ideological factor, we must begin to, people who are complaining from the side must begin to come into the system.
Get involved.
And get involved. So for those people who complain from the social media or in the diaspora, like the market women who feel that this is not the right way the country should go, the best way for us to see the reality in terms of implementation and seeing that our dreams come to pass and to reality is for them to be involved. Nigerians must begin to be active citizens, not by just speaking from the social media. Active citizenship involves that every member of the society, Nigeria right now is in a dire need of people to be involved. So you must not leave a group of people to just gather in one hall and decide what happens to you. You cannot just decide or sit back and allow a group of people who have been elected to decide what happened to you. When they fail to do the right thing, you revolt, and that is how you can get this thing done. Because this guy feel that not, and that is why you see the politicians during the report of yesterday, you find out that what they are reporting is just about this, former that, what about, they have just one vote. They can't command people to vote. Some of them, their loyalty has already been weakened by the reason of their inability to perform. So those people who really desire to see the changes in Nigeria must begin to come forward and align with progressive minds and begin to change the system, not to allow the system to change them.
Absolutely. Well, most sincerely, thank you for your time with us. Of course, your key points are well noted, and I'm sure the Nigerians watching us today are also taking note of all of this. Well, the key word still remains: go beyond lip services. All Nigerian citizens must get involved. Now, the decision of governance and who leads a nation is as important as life itself. So the only way Nigeria can get better is for Nigerians, both in Nigeria and diaspora, to come together and ensure that every word spoken at the time of election, at the time of campaigns, at the time of governance are implemented or goes beyond just mere words to actions. Well, this is why we'll call it a day on this edition of the podcast, Leadership Dialogue Podcast. I'm Chiko Denakadiri. Of course, remember that the conversation continues on our social media handle, on our social media pages, of course, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, as well as Facebook. The handle still remains at LJE Nigeria. Drop your comments, like our pages, and we'll see you again. Bye.